जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा गदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रतां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Ashtaprayeshu Bhavatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishiki कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजान्त्रे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गुरतिशे नमः नमो ब्रह्मण्याय देवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम् श्री परमानंद माधव श्री कृष्ण चैतन्येश्वरम ओम अपवित्र पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतो विवा यस्मरेत् पुंडरीकाक्ष सा बाह्यव्यंतरं सुचे श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mataji. That Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for all of you for joining today's session. Hare Krishna Lilananda Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Hare Krishna Subara Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna Sapna Mataji, thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Kiran Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, thank you so much for joining. Pooja Mataji and Praveen Prabhu, thank you so much. Parishita Mataji and Abhishek, Hare Krishna. Parishita Mataji and Abhishek Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, thank you so much. Shilpa Mataji, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak something about Srimad Bhagavatam. So once when I was reading, hearing one of the lectures to prepare for this class, His Grace Gauranga Prabhu was saying, when we recite Srimad Bhagavatam, especially on these Ekadashis and Dwadashis day, the effect of Srimad Bhagavatam gets hundreds of times beneficial. Of course, we know the effects of Bhagavatam, Dharma Projita Kaitavatra Dharma, and there are so many others. And this effect increases hundreds and hundreds of times when we recite this Srimad Bhagavatam on Ekadashis and Dwadashis. I thank each and every one of you for giving me this opportunity to speak something on this Dwadashi day. Thank you all. So today we are starting the seventh chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, or the seventh canto. The seventh canto is beautifully termed the science of God. So we are learning the science. It is not an ordinary mundane things that we are hearing. It is actually the science. Science means there is certain process. The process should go nicely. So we have to mix everything nicely so that we get a nice compound out of it. So, the science of God and the seventh chapter discuss about what Prahlad learned in the womb. So, we'll read the first sloka. I'm scrolling over this entire text. Shri Naradam Vacha Evam Daitya Sute Prushto Mahabhagavato Sura Uvacha Tansmayam Manaha Smaran Mad Anubhashitam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, can I read it?
Yes, we can.
Translation. Narada Muni said, although Prahlad Maharaja was born in a family of Asuras, he was the greatest of all devotees, having thus been questioned by his classmates, the sons of the Asuras. He remembered the words spoken to him by me and replied to his friends as follows. Purport. When he was in the womb of his mother, Prahlada Maharaj listened to the words of Narada Muni. One cannot imagine how the baby in embryo could hear Narada, but this is spiritual life. Progress in spiritual life cannot be obstructed by any material condition. This is called ahituki apratihata. Reception of spiritual knowledge is never checked by any material condition. Thus, Prahlada Maharaja from his very childhood spoke spiritual knowledge to his class friends, and certainly it was effective, although all of them were children. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So, previously, before starting of this chapter, what happened in the sixth chapter? The Prahlad instructed his demoniac schoolmates. So, in the fifth chapter, we have seen how Prahlad Maharaj, great devotee, has taken his time. He was so clever, and he took this time to instruct his demonic schoolmates. So, we have seen that the schoolmates are young boys who have faith in Prahlad Maharaj. So they started hearing, and Prahlad Maharaj was explaining about right utility of the human life. A human life should be practiced. The human life should be used to practice bhakti right from the one's childhood. So instead of wasting endeavoring for happiness of these senses that is automatically obtained, one should endeavor for the highest goal of life. This was the first lesson which Prahlad Maharaj was instructing. The second lesson was about how our human life is misutilized. How are we misutilizing it? So he goes on to explain 100 years. He breaks up the 100 years of our human life, where 50 years was in the sleep, 20 years in the childhood, 20 years in the old age, and the rest in the family attachments. And there is a scope of doing bhakti. We utilize all human life only for this. The strong attachments in the materialistic household life is the reason why we are using our human body, misusing our human body. So we are all bound in this material world, Maya, or the family attachments. Then he was going on to explain that insatiable family attachments and absorption in the family maintenance. We are continuously bothered about how to maintain our family, but not bothering about the goal of life, which is go back to Godhead. Even the wise are entailed. The so-called wise who are in the IITs, IIMs, premier institutes, whatever we name. What are we doing in the premier institutes? We are learning only on how to maintain our body beautifully. Where is the Srila Prabhupada once asked in MIT, I guess, where is the department for the soul? There is no department in the premier institute where we discuss about the soul. And if you don't discuss about the soul, if you don't perfect our life, we are going to misuse it. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jadati shayanam, vihasamsari, bahudustari. So we are continuously moving in this birth, death, old age, and disease. So the only solution is to take the shelter of the Lord Narayana. So we have certain so many problems. So we have learned in science of self-realization. There are so many problems, but there are common four problems in our life: Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. And these premier institutes have no answer for these four. Only the Shastras gives this the answer for this solution for this, which is only to surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna or Narayana. And he goes on to gives instruction on how to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is like pleasing the all pervasive Supreme Lord is not very difficult. Even Srimad Bhagavad Gita it says, Susugam Kartaham. So though it is a confidential knowledge, it is very easy to perform. So one has to be merciful to all, which is the key to performing this devotion. Nothing is unobtainable when Vishnu is satisfied. So when Vishnu is satisfied, there is everything is obtainable. So only our goal is samsiddhir haritoshana. Therefore, surrender unto him. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vaja. Ultimately, Prahlad concludes and his classmates encourage him. So they mentioned, they say that, oh Prahlad, whatever you said is is wonderful. So you have given us the sign, the knowledge which we use for our benefit. And we are all in this ashram of Shanda in America. And it is well protected by Hiranyakashipu and his guards. Nobody can attend, nobody can come into this other person who are unauthorized can come into this ashram. How could you do? How could you learn all these things from Narad Muni? We are all playing with you, but we never saw Narad Muni coming here and teaching you all the science. Similarly, like you see, if you have countries, so when we go to US, we cannot go directly, right? We have to get a passport, we have to get our visa stamped, and there is only limited time given, and they ask for you what is the reason. So there are so many process when you go to US, then we are allowed. In the similarly, in the Hiranyakashipu's area, no devotee of Narayana was allowed. If there was a devotee of Narayana, they were jailed and beaten. So only the name of Hiranyakashipu should be chanted. And these friends of Prahlad Maharaj were very astonished. How could a this boy can become a devotee? How did Narad Muni enter? And they're all around him. To this, to the question of these friends of the Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad was giving. How did he learn the knowledge in the womb? He did not learn the knowledge in the ashrama. He learned the knowledge in the womb. That's why this chapter is mentioned that what did Prahlad Maharaj learn inside the womb? The key points of this chapter is learning and the womb. So we'll see what is that meetings. So in this purport, get the screen. So, so in this, it is mentioned about although Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of Asuras, he was the greatest of all the devotees. The key word of this verse is although. So why is Narada Muni mentioning the although over here? So it's a great fortune for us to learn about three Mahabhagavatas over here. One is Narada Muni, who is a Mahajan. The second is a Prahlad Maharaj, who is another Mahajan, Mahabhagavata, and other thing is about His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who has given us this wonderful purpose. So we are in touch with the three Mahabhagavatas on this Dvadasi day. So this Narada Muni is glorifying the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj in this sloka, in this text. So continuously there is an exchange of glory between the devotee and the disciple and the guru. This is the excellent relationship which one should have with the guru. Guru is always bona fide. There is no doubt. There is no question about the strength of the guru. A disciple should follow in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj is always glorifying the Narad Muni, and Narad Muni is also glorifying the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. So here Narad Muni glorifies Prahlad Maharaj by saying although, which means when he was in the womb of his mother, Prahlad Maharaj listened to the words of the Narada Muni. So here the power of hearing is emphasized. Vani. The message of God should be heard from the bona fide disciplic succession in a Vani way. That is the power of hearing. How Prahlad Maharaj, even in the womb, could hear the transcendental sound of Srimad Bhagavatam Krishna from the lotus mouth of Narada Muni. So this made Prahlad Maharaj a devotee. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vishnu Smaranam. So that's why Prahlad Maharaj he was explaining, was teaching to Hiranyakashipu. The first thing is Shravanam. When we have a good oral reception, one can become a devotee. So once when I was hearing the class of His Grace Amarendra Prabhu, how many times Prahlad Maharaj heard Bhagavatam lecture from Narada Muni? It is only once. How many times did Dhruva Maharaj hear the Bhagavatam from Narada Muni? Only once. How many times did Valmiki hear Ramanama from Narada Muni? Only one. If we are so sincere, only one instruction of Narada Muni, one instruction of devotee who is in the disciple succession of Narada Muni, one can become a devotee. The problem is we are so much conditioned that also comes in this 16 slokas. We are so conditioned that we are not conducting that mercy of parampara into us. When we are super conductive, like Prahlad Maharaj, then even one class is sufficient to make us a devotee. But because we are conditioned so time, from crores and crores of lifetime, we have to keep hearing to the Bhagavatam classes regularly and frequently. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. This is an instruction given by Narada Muni to all of us. We have to hear Bhagavatam 24/7. So here, as we understand, the Guru Narada Muni is glorifying the Prahlad Maharaj as the greatest of all the great devotees. So ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada is following the mood of here Prahlad Maharaj. The glory of the spiritual life. So in one of the class it was mentioned that the glory of the spiritual life is we have to recognize the glory of the person irrespective of the position. When you hear, when you hear about Bhagavatam, what comes to your mind? It is Sukadeva Goswami who is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So it is just so whatever we are hearing is the Sukadeva Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, and in the audience who is listening? In the audience, it is Narada Muni and Vyasadeva who are listening. So who are this Narada Muni and Vyasadeva? So Vyasadeva is the father and the spiritual guru of Sukadeva Goswami, and Narada Muni is the spiritual master of Vyasadeva. They are all sitting here hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. It doesn't mean who is speaking the Bhagavatam. It is the message of Bhagavatam, is the message of Parampara which is coming through the speaker. So we have to recognize the glory of each and every one, irrespective of the position. So there are so many wonderful devotees in our satsang. So we have to glorify. When we glorify, what happens? We acquire the qualities of the person. So we feel gratitude for the particular. It's not that we are great. It's not that we are something great. How can we become a great? This is required for all of us to become a devotee. We have to genuinely glorify all the devotees. Then Krishna empowers all of us. So each and every one can be a squirrel and one can be a Hanuman. But each and every one of the devotee is wonderful in the eyes of Lord Ram or Krishna. And what makes that person empowered? Of course, their material skills. Everyone, we can use our material skills for the service of Krishna. That is the injection given by His divine grace. But is this the only the material qualities that is giving the benefit, that is giving the opportunity? No. Krishna is giving the empowerment. Why Krishna is giving the empowerment? The only reason Krishna is giving the empowerment to each and every devotee is to glorify our Guru. It is to glorify our Guru. See this disciple, how this disciple is conducting himself in the satsangs. See how he is conducting his life. By our nature, by our services, our Guru should be glorified. It is not we should be glorified. It is the Guru should be glorified. And Krishna gives that empowerment to such a devotee. So His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada was empowered by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But never in any of the writings of the Srila Prabhupada did he mention that it is because of me. No, he never mentioned anywhere. He also mentioned the Srila word as Srila Prabhupada, so that whatever glory he is getting, it is because of the glory of the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. That is the quality of a devotee. So always Srila Prabhupada was glorifying his spiritual master Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That's why, of course, he's an empowered Acharya. We cannot imitate him. That is impossible for us. But we have to keep in our mind that by our actions, we have to glorify our Guru Maharaj. This is a great combination. So here in the purport is mentioned, is explained that it's a great combination. What is a great combination? That is a mercy and hearing. So we ask for, oh Guru Maharaj, please give me mercy, please give me mercy, 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 mercy. We'll beg for the mercy. Mercy is always there. If we hear the lectures of the Srila Prabhupada and disciples and all the great Vaishnavas assembled, then the real mercy starts flowing us. The mercy is always there. So it's like so many electromagnetic waves. We cannot see it. There are so many electromagnetic waves which are passing through us, but we cannot access it because we are not tuned into that. Our body or our system is not tuned for that. Similarly, mercy is always there around us in the form of association, chanting of the holy name, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, all these things. The only way we can access this mercy is through sincere and absorbed hearing. That's what is mentioned. Hearing from a great source, then bhakti becomes like concrete. So we like that when we mix concrete, when we do construction, when we mix concrete, so when we mix everything, of course, in the right proportions, and we allow it to settle, then it becomes a concrete and it stays for so many years to come. And similarly, when bhakti should become concrete in the heart, we have to hear from the great devotees. Then this bhakti becomes concrete in our life. So this is one thing, but one of the glory of the Prahlad Maharaj. And it is mentioned in the purport that this is called Ahit. One cannot imagine how the baby in the embryo could hear Narada Muni, but this is spiritual life. Progress in spiritual life cannot be obstructed by any material condition. So it is mentioned that there is no obstruction of the the spiritual life. No material things can stop anybody's spiritual life. No material impediments. So important point of this chapter is another important point of this chapter is whom. It is not mentioned. The title of this chapter is not what did Prahlad Maharaj learn from Narada. It is mentioned that what is Prahlad Maharaj learned from in the womb. The womb is the most important point of in the chapter. Why is the womb important? Womb is not a convenient place to hear. We are all sitting in our respective convenient places. Right? So we check in our drive, we have a convenient place in our house, hearing and doing whatever activities we are doing. So once I can remember this is for myself. When we all go to yatras. So when we all go to different yatras and we sit and hear from our Guru Maharaj. So when I was hearing from my Guru Maharaj, that lecture, which is Gaur Katha is happening. So many people are sitting and hearing very absorbedly. But I was moving my leg here and there. I was not able to sit properly in one place. So I was sitting in this way, adjusting my all the possible ways. We cannot sit in a one possible condition. And here, Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb. And we all know womb is not a convenient place. Will be in the upside down also. There is less air. So we have here from Kapila Muni that how the soul embryo inside prays to Lord Vishnu so that I will come out of this hellish condition of life, the womb. And Prahlad Maharaj was hearing in that difficult place. This is Ahituki or Pratihata. There is no material condition that can stop us. But what we say, I don't have these things, I don't have that things. We complain about our condition to perform the devotional service. Not only Prahlad Maharaj, There are there are total three personalities which we had here in Srimad Bhagavatam who heard these kathas in the womb. The one is Sukadeva Goswami. The second is Parikshit Maharaj, who has seen Krishna in the womb. The third is the whole Prahlad Maharaj. What is the greatest of all this? They have remembered, they have not only learned about the Srimad Bhagavatam, they have remembered everything. So when we come out of the womb, we forgot what promise we have given. But these three personalities have never forgotten what we have learned in the womb. And what happened? Sukadeva Goswami became the speaker of Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj became the hearer of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Prahlad Maharaj became the object of hearing, one of the object of hearing the Bhagavatam. So these are three conditions. Three. So whatever our situation may be, we can give n number of reasons for not hearing Bhagavatam, not attending classes. But these are the personalities which we have to qualities which we have to imbibe, whatever we are in. So there are no material facility to do devotional service. Again, our premier example is our own His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who on the instruction of his Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur went to the Western countries with only 40 rupees. And that was also in rupees, which he cannot be exchanged for a dollar. So practically, he went with nothing. Imagine ourselves in an outside world, somewhere in India. Don't forget about Western countries. Anywhere in outside, even in Hyderabad also or elsewhere, without a money. Can you imagine what Prahlad or what Prabhupada might be thinking? He could have thought, why should I take all these things, all these inconveniences to spread his Krishna consciousness? I don't have money. I don't have proper clothing. I don't have support from my god brothers. Prabhupada never said that. So he used to write letters to his god brothers, to all the people, but never he got any reply back. But he still continued his journey to spread Krishna consciousness. That is the mercy of Guru. So we should not give any reasons to stop our preaching services. I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this. So somewhere or the other, we have to do our preaching service. Whether it is our classes, by our conduct, if they the Acharya Shrestha, there are a number of ways which we can preach. We have to continuously see what will go right for us, and then continue our preaching services. And most important thing which is required to perform these activities is the faith in Guru. You may not have money, you may not have facilities. I think one of the classes in our Bhakti Center, I don't know who has given that, is a entitlement which will come into hindrance of our bhakti. And I am entitled for this. I am senior. I am entitled for so and so facilities. So entitlement is a barrier for our bhakti, but only thing which comes in our way is the faith. Faith in our Guru's instruction. That is what is required. If you have read about the book Salted Bread, I suggest you to read, everyone to read Salted Bread, where the devotees of Russia, how Krishna consciousness started in Russia, two devotees, they were jailed in the for lifetime by KGF or something, KGP or something, I don't remember. So they jailed them for practicing Krishna consciousness, for printing books. It was not easy to print books in that communist country, and these two people have done that. And and to chant the holy name, they did not have the beads. So they were given the salted bread fully soaked in the salt. It is very difficult to taste it. They made beads, 108 beads out of that, stringed it, and they chanted the holy names of Krishna, and they even preached Krishna consciousness in that day. And they were initiated by their Guru Maharaj through a letter. They even don't know that they were initiated, but they continued their services. That is what is required. They faith in the instruction of Srila Prabhupada in the Guru. This is what is required. And there are two aspects in this verse. There are two aspects of apratihata. Vaitiki or Pratihata. There are two aspects. One aspect of Apratihata is complete absorption. And second aspect of Apratihata is consistency in our services. So when it comes to the absorption, we need to be absorbed in our devotional service. His Holiness Radha Maharaj explains the word love. It's bhakti means loving devotional service. Loving devotional service means loving means complete absorption in whatever we are doing. This is what is called samadhi. We have to completely focus on Krishna and how to spread Krishna consciousness. Now, it is on the smallest level. So it is not doing the big projects. Of course, that is required. So it is not in the big project. It is in the minute things which we take care that gives the absorption. One of the minute detail, one of the important thing which His Divine Grace has given is please cooperate. It looks very easy. It's very difficult. Our false egos come into picture. We all have to be in association, but our false ego kicks in and says, this devotee is doing like that. This is a small, look small, but we are very careful in all these things. We have to be completely aware how we can avoid all these things. So here, in one of the lecture, Srila Prabhupada gives an example of the sponge. So when only the sponge can absorb water. If it is a rock, can it absorb water? No. So it has to be the sponge. The sponge only gets absorbed. Not only a sponge, it should be the dry sponge. A wet sponge cannot hold more water. You have to squeeze it and you have to put in the water so that it can absorb water. So devotee should be like sponge. But presently we are wet sponges. So we are completely loaded with water. This water is not of the spiritual water. Presently we all have material desires. We are loaded with material. Some of us are in, especially me, my heart is in the rocky state. Many of us are in a spongy state, but we are still holding material desires. Squeeze that material out, then we can have the spiritual desire imbibed in. One should become one should become a sponge. So the real absorption is in the absorbing instruction of the spiritual master. How can we get this essence? By absorbing the instructions of our spiritual master. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Koryakya. So Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. We have to absorb the instructions of our spiritual master. Then we can become successful in our spiritual life. Here we should remember the story of Bilvamangal Thakur. So previously before he becoming a devotee, so he was attracted to a prostitute called Chintamani. So you all know the past time how Bilvamangal Thakur was crossed even when his father was dead, and the whole night was raining, and the whole river was flooding. He was somehow or the other going towards the Chintamani. He was not seeing what is happening inside, and he reached the Chintamani. And Chintamani, you are so absorbed in enjoying me. If the same absorption was given towards Krishna, you would have perfected your life. Then he became a devotee. So such a perfection, such an absorption. We all have that absorption. Somehow or the other, we have absorption in the material. The same absorption which we can direct to Krishna, then we can become successful. Second aspect of consistency is consistency, which is a very key aspect of Krishna consciousness. The example, Radhesha Prabhu, he whatever wherever he is always attends Mangalarati early in the morning, isn't it? So he makes sure that he reaches he is in the temple or in a base or whatever area he attends the Mangalarati. And what happens in Mangalarati? Same tune, almost the same thing. What also goes on. Is there any change? No. But he attends it. That is consistency. he did not miss all, of course, all the senior devotees, all the brahmacharis, all the maharajas, they attend the Mangalaratis without any fail. That is the consistency. One fine day, what happens? You can realize Krishna. So once I was hearing one brahmachari was giving an example of consistency. So he was milking that. He was preparing that makkan from the curd. He was continuously churning, and there was no makkan. He was continuously churning and churning for hours and hours together, but still he did not get makkan. But he continued to go doing that, and immediately what happened? Certain time that butter is started coming out, but small churning and butter is coming out. So initially, though there was churning, there was no butter, but afterwards, when there is small churning, even the butter is coming out. He was saying that. So when we churn our heart, today we don't get butter. You might not be getting butter, but one day you start seeing butter coming out even by small activities, and that butter is nothing but Krishna. So when you do regular practice, our practice regularly, consistently, even though you don't feel that love, you don't feel that Krishna, one day or the other we get the Krishna's love. What we can see in what we say can see what Krishna sees in our consistency. So why Krishna emphasizes consistency on that? So the good point of what Krishna is looking in the consistency aspect is that this devotee is not subjected to the mind. He is surrendered to intelligence. Consistency means that we are not subjected to mind, but we are subjected to intelligence. Why is that? The mind always says, mind doesn't like repetition. Suppose if you are given the same item, same khichdi, morning, afternoon, night, the same thing happens every day. What will you do? Why these people are giving khichdi every day to me? Tomorrow you should have pongal, something else, biryani or something else. Our tongue doesn't like the same thing again and again because the mind is saying, how long can you eat the same food? Mind doesn't like the same thing to be repeated. That's why mind always says, don't chant. What are you chanting? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. We are chanting 16 rounds of 100, 17,700 times. And mind says, why are you doing all this nonsense again? But if you are subjected to intelligence, we see Shastras mentioned, the Vaishnava said the Hare Krishna mantra should be chanted regularly. That is what is consistency is all about. And it is mentioned that consistency is doing the same service again and again. Is one of the yes, one thing. But the real consistency means dedication to the spiritual. Whatever service you are doing, whether you are preaching, whether you are cooking, whether you are distributing books, whatever we are doing, we have to do is as dedication to our spiritual master. That is what is consistency. It doesn't mean that I am expert in book distribution and I will do only book distribution. I will not preach Krishna. I don't preach. I am expert in preaching, but I don't do book distribution. I'm doing so many Radhayatras, but I don't chant holy names. Doesn't work out like that. So whatever we are doing, it should be as an offering to our spiritual master, as a service to the spiritual master. That is what is real consistency is all about. That is apratihata. When we get that apratihata, we all get that ahetuki kripa. So we'll go into next sloka. So let me share. So can anybody volunteer to read sloka number 2 till 9? 2 to till 9, there is no purpose. Can anyone volunteer for text number 2 till 9?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dhanavad, no. Let me go.
One translation, Sena.
Only translation, Prabhu. Ninth lone part undi.
Right. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, text 2. Text number 2. Prahlada Maharaja said, when our father Hiranyakashipu went to Mandarachala mountain to execute severe austerities, in his absence, the demigods, headed by King Indra, made a severe attempt to subdue all the demons in warfare. Text 3. Alas, as a serpent is eaten by small ants, so the troublesome Hiranyakashipu, who always inflicted miseries upon all types of people, has now been defeated by the reactions of his own sinful activities. Saying this, the demigods, headed by King Indra, arranged to fight the demons. Text 4 and 5.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, when the great leaders of the demons, who were being killed one after another, saw the unprecedented exertion of the demigods in fighting, they began to flee, scattering themselves in all directions, simply to protect their lives. They hastily fled from their homes, wives, children, animals, and household paraphernalia. Paying no heed to all these, the demons simply fled. Text 6. The victorious demigods plundered the palace of Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, and destroyed everything within it. Then Indra, king of heaven, arrested my mother, the queen. Text 7. Yeah, as she was being led away, crying in fear like a Kurari captured by a vulture, the great sage Narada, who at that time had no engagement, appeared on the scene and saw her in that condition. Text 8. Narada Muni said, O Indra, king of the demigods, this woman is certainly sinless. You should not drag her up in this merciless way. O greatly fortunate one, this chaste woman is the wife of another. You must immediately release her. So, ఇదన్నా చదువుతారా ప్రభుగారు? చదవన్నా.
Yes, bro. Please go ahead. Translation by.
Translation purported by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. King Indra said, in the womb of this woman, the wife of the demon Hiranyakashipu is the seed of that great demon. Therefore, let her remain in our custody until her child is delivered, and then we shall release her. Purport. Indra, the king of heaven, decided to arrest Prahlad Maharaj's mother because he thought that another demon, another Hiranyakashipu, was within her womb. The best course, he thought, was to kill the child when the child was born, and then the woman could be released. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. So here, Narada Muni is explaining how he rescued the life of Prahlad Maharaj. So once Hiranyakashipu was out for tapasya, doing meditation to get boon so that he can live a longer life without death. So Indra and the other demigods took this opportunity so that they can kill the seed of Hiranyakashipu. So when they captured Kayadu, they arrested Kayadu, and they were taking Kayadu so that when the seed is delivered, so they can kill the seed even at the seed level. సో అదే అంటారు కదా మనకి తెలుగులో అంటారు మొక్కే వంచగా లేనిది మానే వంచలేమంట. సో ఇట్ షుడ్ బి at the early stage. The demigods were thinking that this boy should be destroyed at the early stage. Otherwise, another Hiranyakashipu would be in the making. And Narada Muni said he he interfered with Indra and said, this seed which you are seeing in Kayatu is not a demon, but is a great devotee or great Mahabhagavata. Don't kill him. He will be the cause of liberation for Hiranyakashipu. And Indra decided to leave that. So what happens is, generally we see normally a demon's son should be a demon. So we all think that sometimes in our own professions, and many people ask me, your father is a doctor, and why didn't you become a doctor? A doctor's son should become a doctor. Of course, I have my own reasons for that. So if our father is a doctor, we tend to become a doctor. If father is doing some profession, business, child will also go into the same business. Indra was also thinking the same thing. This boy, this seed, is going to become another Hiranyakashipu. And in one of the incidents, one of the interactions after Hiranyakashipu was killed, Prahlad Maharaj was glorifying Narada Muni. So he was glorifying Narada Muni. When people, sorry, all the demigods and Prahlad Maharaj to Narasimhadev to pacify him. And Prahlad Maharaj says this: Narasimhadev has not come for me. It is not for me who has come, because it is for my own Guru Maharaj. By based for Guru Maharaj's words, he has Vishnu has come in the form of Narasimhadev. So what did what, when Narada Muni told that the womb has a devotee, Narada Muni said, whom which Kayadu is carrying is a devotee. But actually, it was mentioned that it's a demon. I am a demon, he is saying. Actually, I am a demon in the Kayadu's womb. And Narada Muni said that this is a devotee, and Krishna doesn't wanted his devotee should be, his words should be neglected. And he made me a devotee. Otherwise, I don't have any qualification for that. Lord wanted Narada's word. So once I was asking one question to one of the Vaishnavas. Did Parikshit Maharaj was really killed by Takshaka's fire? He said, of course, it should happen. The reason which he has given is Parikshit Maharaj is a great Bhagavata and and another Brahmana, Shringi, cursed him. So that in 7 days, wherever situation you are in, that Parikshit Maharaj should be killed by Takshaka. And Krishna is Namo no, Go Brahmana Hitayita. He is very favorable to Brahmanas. If Krishna would not have allowed that, the Brahmana's words would have been futile, right? So he makes the words of the Brahmana come true. Similarly, he wants his devotees' words should be coming true. And Narada Muni said he's a devotee. Means he has to make Prahlad as devotee. And Prahlad Maharaj also said, when Hiranyakashipu asked, where is your Lord Narayana? Is he there in the pillar? And because Krishna was in anxiety that from where will Prahlad Maharaj invoke him? So he went into each and every atom. So that if any time Prahlad Maharaj asked him to come, he can come out. And Prahlad Maharaj, when he was asked to show in the pillar, immediately Narsimha appeared out to make the true words of Prahlad Maharaj true. But see the character of Prahlad Maharaj. He's not taking the credit for himself. He is always giving credit to Narada Muni. One should practice this Krishna consciousness from childhood. Prahlad Maharaj says, Kaumaram Acharet. So it is not from the after retirement or after some time. It is right from the childhood a parent should give to their children. This is the art of parenting. This is the art of raising a child in a Krishna consciousness. So Prahlad Maharaj says, distress always comes after its own occurred. Without any other endeavor, distress always comes out. But similarly, happiness will also come out without any other endeavor. We should always focus our intelligence in how to become Krishna consciousness, not to become how happy. It is not how we should become. We should use our intelligence to make to follow Krishna consciousness. But we do not know what is the logic that devotional service should be done after 60 years. Is there any shloka that mentions that? I don't know any reason. So many of my relatives also said that, why are you doing this now? You should do this after 60 years. But even they have crossed 60, they have not started their bhakti. Oh, I tell so many times, they don't do that. But what is the logic? We do not know. So practicing in old days is very difficult. We cannot even do Sastanga Dandavat Pranam. Isn't it? We can in the old days. It's impossible. You cannot give classes. You cannot remember verses. Only in this youth we can do this bhakti. So we have to do Krishna conscious. We have to teach our children Krishna consciousness at early age. Hare Krishna. So let me share the next sloka. Any volunteer for sloka number 10? Translation and purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shall I try, Prabhuji?
Yes, Robin, please.
Translation. Narada Muni replied, the child within his woman's womb is faultless and sinless. Indeed, he is a great devotee, a powerful servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you will not be able to kill him. Purport. There have been many instances in which demons or non-devotees have attempted to kill a devotee, but they have never been able to destroy a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord in the promises in Bhagavad Gita 9.31, Kauntya prati pratijani na me bhakta pranashyati. This is a declaration by the Supreme Personality of Godhead that his devotee cannot be killed by demon. Prahlad Maharaj is the vivid example of the truth of his promise. Narada Muni told the king of heaven, it would be impossible for you to kill the child, even though you are demigods, and certainly it would be impossible for others. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Here, the nature of a devotee is also mentioned, and what affects, what are the five principles which dictate a person, and the nature of a person. So, Gaurang, this was a class which I am hearing from Gaurang Das Prabhu. So, he was giving the five principles that dictate our nature. So, Prahlad Maharaj's nature we have seen here. So what are the five ways which our nature is affected? Is mentioned over here. So, with the example of the story of Samudra Manthan Leela. So, you all remember the Samudra Manthan Leela, how Indra and the demigods were cursed by Durvasa Muni, because he Indra offended a great devotee of Durvasa, great devotee Durvasa. So when Durvasa wanted to give garland, so Indra said, "Oh, what is this in the garland? It's already used. It's not used for me." So he gives to his elephant Airavat. What does a poor elephant know? So it trampled the garland in his feet right before the eyes of Durvasa Muni, and you know that Durvasa is easily angered. He gets angry very easily. Seeing this offense, Durvasa cursed, so that because the Brahmanas curse, all the demigods lost their position, and they immediately ran towards Vishnu. So by this we can understand there are first two principles of what affects our nature. The first principle is our past life conditionings. So we all carry our past life conditionings. We do not know who we are in the past life, what actions we have taken, but our vasanas, which said our desires, go in different lifetimes. We carry so many crores and crores of lifetimes of vasanas in this present life. So our past life conditions affects our behavior. And the second principle is our upbringing the devotee has during the whole life. So in one of the lectures by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he was mentioning that there are actually three things which affect a person's nature. First thing is our in past life conditions as nature. We are born with certain nature. Second is our nurturing, our upbringing, how we how we bring our children, how we are brought up in our childhood. Second is our culture. So third principle we will see in the later. The third principle is our culture. The first principle is our past life conditioning. Second principle is our upbringing of the upbringing the devotee has in the whole life. So Srimad Bhagavatam teaches that until and unless these facilities are utilized for Krishna consciousness, there is no benefit of it. Otherwise, what happens? We use this. We all have upbringing that everything should be accumulation. Our parents, our grandparents are told that we have to acquire so many things. So acquisition mentality is there. Until and unless we don't use this for Krishna consciousness, there is no benefit in our spirituality. So that's why Indra and demigods were that's provided. The third principle is the association of the devotees. Association that we are in affects our nature. It is said, show me your friends, I will tell about you. So we are what we associate with. So immediately when demigods ran towards Vishnu, they got the association of Bhagavan. Vishnu. By that, they got purified. So here we have to understand that somehow or the other, kena prakarena, we have to develop our relationship with Krishna. What did Krishna say? Did Krishna solve the problems immediately? No. He has given a solution. Oh demigods, go and take help of the demons and do Samudra Manthan Leela. Samudra Manthan. Then you will get the nectar. And based on the nectar, by the nectar, you will regain all your lost luster. Similarly, when we associate with the devotees of Krishna, even though some might look demonic, but still we have to associate with that, and we do Samudra Manthan. We have to turn our hearts. Then what happens? Then nectar, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu said, Bhakti Rasa will develop in our heart. And that Bhakti Rasa develops, real luster of a devotee, real luster of servitude will come into our life. Krishna never solves our problem. He gives the strength to solve our problem. He gives a solution to solve our problem, which is bhakti. We have to do it. Arjuna was also given the same thing. He was given the instructions to fight. Otherwise, Krishna would have done entire war. It's easy, one snap, it will finish. But he is given Bhagavad Gita. So read Bhagavad Gita, apply Bhagavad Gita in life, churn our heart, then we get the nectar. So whatever people do in this world is always. So we are coming from the spiritual world. The soul is from the spiritual world. We hear so many things from the spirit in Bhagavatam about the spirituality, how the spiritual world looks like, how Vaikuntha looks like. But still, we don't get that realization. Why? Because we are also associated with the materialistic people. That's why we don't get enough. And whatever is scripture, it looks impractical. Possible for me? Or is it possible only for Prahlad Maharaj? Why would a devotee come to this world and show that this can be done? Is it to insult all of us? Did Prahlad Maharaj come into this world to insult us? No. He has come into this world to show a way how we can go back to Krishna. So these are not impractical solutions. These are all practical solutions provided we with faith imbibe in our system. So the chanting and cooperation. Association means cooperation. So chanting and cooperation are the most important thing in our spirituality. If you are not chanting properly and if you are not associating properly, what happens? When these two C's are not followed, it will result in three creepers. Three C's of creepers. What are the three C's of creepers? What one C is for complacency. When you don't hear regularly, when you don't associate with the devotees regularly, we tend to become complacent. We come to the satsang late. When the senior devotees come, we come late. It is complacency. Anyway, satsang will start at 6 o'clock now. I can reach by 6 o'clock. If the satsang starts at given at 5:30, we have to be there at 5:30. But what will happen? Of course, there is certain unavoidable. That is a different thing. But yeah, I can go. This Maharaj will come at 6:30. Anyway, if he has to come from Abits, it will take a lot of time to come. I can reach there by 6:30. No, we have to be there by 5:30, available for the senior devotees to come. So that is complacency. Second is the credit. We have credit taking mentality. I am the center. I am the doer. I am everything. In Samudra Manthan Leela, when the demigods and demons could not lift the Mandara mountain, they took the help of Vishnu. And Vishnu ordered Garuda to lift the mountain. And what happened? When Garuda placed the mountain in the right place, he was asked to leave that place. Vishnu said, now your job is done. You go back to your Vaikuntha. Now Vasuki has to come here for become my role. Garuda, you cannot be here because Vasuki will be coming here. Garuda would have said, I want to see this Samudra Manthan Leela. What is happening? I want to see the nectar. He did not utter any word because Vishnu ordered and he left Vaikuntha without any complaint. This is a no credit taking facility. So we all want to take credit. I have done this, I have done that, I have done all these things. Who are we to do that? It's only the Krishna's mercy and Guru's mercy which is passed through us. And the last thing is criticism. We tend to criticize others. This will happen in the satsang. This Mataji is doing like that, that Prabhuji is like that, why he is not doing like that? We all tend to become critics. If our chanting and cooperation is not proper. That's why our sadhana should be very much intense. Fourth principle is our false ego. So demons, when the Vasuki appeared there and they were tied to the Mandara mountain, demigods could hold the head part, and demons were given the tail part. The demon said, "You are taking the best part of the things, and what is that you are giving? You are giving the tail, which is the lowest part of the excreta will coming out of it, and you give that portion. We want the head portion. This is a false ego which we kick in. What happens because of the false ego? It is subjected to. We are subjected to destruction. The fifth principle mentioned over here is the sankalpa. Four things above we might and might not be able to control. Of course, to a certain extent, association can be taken. But generally, these are four things which is not in our control, which is Krishna who has to take care. But only one thing which is in our control and which has to show is the sankalpa or the willpower. By this sankalpa, we'll get the good association, our chanting will get proper. That sankalpa here means not a sankalpa which we do in the during the pujas. Sankalpa means the determination with full faith in Krishna. This is what this current verse is all about. Prahlad Maharaj was showing this determination that one day Krishna will come and help me. Rake Krishna mare Krishna rake koi. This is the determination which we all should have. This is what the determination which Prahlad Maharaj was showing here. That is what Narada Muni is explaining. Everyone should be determined in this Krishna with the faith in Krishna consciousness. With that same faith and the words of Krishna, demigods churned the Mandara mountain and they got the nectar. With the same determination, when we churn our heart, we can get that bhakti nectar. That is what Narada Muni was explaining over here. In the 11th shloka, let me share it. So quickly, can anybody read this 11th shloka? Krishna?
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Translation. When the great saint Narada Muni has thus spoken, King Indra, being respectful to Narada's words, immediately released my mother. Because of my being a devotee of the Lord, all the demigods circumambulated her. Then they returned to their celestial kingdom. Purport. Although King Indra and the other demigods are exalted personalities, they were so obedient to Narada Muni that King Indra immediately accepted Narada Muni's words concerning Prahlad Maharaja. This is called understanding by the Parampara system. Indra and the demigods did not know that a great devotee was in the womb of Kayadu, the wife of Hiranyakasipu. But they accepted the authoritative statements of Narada Muni and immediately offered their respects to the devotee by circumambulating the woman in whose womb he was living. To understand God and the devotee by the Parampara system is the process of knowledge. There is no need to speculate about God and his devotee. One should accept the statements of a bona fide devotee and thus try to understand. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is the main feature of Parampara. Did Indra and the demigods argue to Narada Muni that I have heard that a child should become like a father. I have heard in YouTube that this is how hierarchy passes. Did Indra and the demigods say that? No. They do not know what is there inside the womb, whether it's a devotee or a demon or whatever it is there. Indra and the other devotees, demigods, did not know what is there. But on the authoritative statement of the Narada Muni, they accepted that this is a devotee. So the key point is we have to accept the authority of the parampara as it is. We should not conclude whether this means that our mental concoction will not work in this spirituality. Our intelligence should be guided by the paramparas. We have to accept it as it is. Of course, according to time, places, circumstances, It may be applied in a different way, but the essence should be applied as it is. With the interest of the time, I will go a little bit faster and I will read it coming slokas. Text number 12, 13, and 14. Prahlad Maharaj continued, the great saint Narada Muni brought my mother to his ashrama and assured her of all protection, saying, my dear child, please remain at my ashrama until the arrival of your husband. Text number 13. After accepting the other instructions of the Devarshi Narada, my mother stayed in his care, without fear from my direction. As long as my father, the king of Daityas, had not become free from the severe austerities. 14, which is the most important sloka in these three. My mother, being pregnant, desired the safety of her embryo and desired to give birth after her husband's arrival. Thus she stayed at Narada Muni's ashrama, where she rendered service unto Narada Muni with great devotion. Purport. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 9.19.17. Matra swasya duhitrava naiva naivikito bhave balavan indriya gramo vidvamsan abikarshati. One should not remain in a secluded place with a woman, even one's mother, sister, or daughter. Nonetheless, although one is strictly prohibited from staying with a woman in a secluded place, Narada Muni gave shelter to the Prahlad Maharaj's young mother, who rendered service to him with great devotion and faith. Does this mean that Narada Muni transgressed the Vedic injunctions? Certainly he did not. Such injunctions are intended for mundane creatures, but Narada Muni is transcendental to mundane categories. Narada Muni is great saint and is transcendently situated. Therefore, although he was a young man, he could give shelter to young women and accept her service. Haridas Thakura also spoke with a young woman, a prostitute, and in dead of the night, but the woman could not deviate his mind. Instead, she became a Vaishnavi, a pure devotee, by the benediction of Haridas Thakura. Ordinary persons, however, should not imitate such highly elevated devotees. Ordinary devotees must strictly observe the rules and regulations by staying aloof from the association of the woman. No one should imitate Narada Muni or Haridas Thakur. It is said, Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigne na Pajbhujya. Even if a man is very advanced in learning, he cannot understand the behavior of the Vaishnava. Anyone can take shelter of a pure Vaishnava without fear. Therefore, in the previous verse, it has been distinctly said, Devarshir Antike Sakudo Paya. Ayadu, the mother of Prahlad Maharaj, stayed under the protection of the Narada Muni without fear from any direction. Similarly, Narada Muni, in his transcendental position, stayed with a young woman without fear for a deviation. Narada Muni, Haridas Thakur, and similar acharyas, especially empowered to broadcast the glories of the Lord, cannot be brought down to the material platform. Therefore, one is strictly forbidden to think of the Acharya as an ordinary human being, Guru Sunara. So here the important principle is how to how to associate with the opposite gender, whether it is with Mataji with Prabhuji or a Prabhuji with a Mataji. So it is we should be very careful in associating with the proper opposite gender, especially for the brahmachari. Of course, it is applicable to all the varnashrama. It is very applicable for brahmachari. So Hiranyakashipu, here the question may be. So Hiranyakashipu, we might have questioned that Hiranyakashipu went to tapasya for so many years. But how could Prahlad Maharaj was 5 years old? We all have had some time or the other we get it out. Maybe she might. Some people said she might have an illegal affair also. That's a very wrong statement which they are passing. So someday or the other, we also had the same doubt. How did Prahlad Maharaj was 5 years old when Hiranyakashipu went for the long tapasya? Here it is still explained in the translation. My mother, being pregnant, desired the safety of her home and desired to give. She desired to give birth only after husband's arrival. And it is because of the Narada Muni's benediction, she could hold that embryo inside the womb. And Prahlad Maharaj was 5 years old and Hiranyakashipu was there. And another thing is, so why we have come to this material world? Did we all come to this material world to perform a lila? No. Bhagavad Gita says, Purusha Bhakti Sohi Bhunte that we all have come into this material world because of our enjoyment mentality. We all have that enjoyment mentality. And Krishna is a supreme person. Krishna is a supreme enjoyer. We all heard that. But One who has taken this spiritual life must be very careful of what we are doing. So we are thinking that we have to be, we are enjoyers. But spiritual life says we have to become the servant of the servant. It is completely 180-degree opposite. You are going in the northward direction and you are asked to go to the south. So you are asked to go to the south. It's a complete opposite direction. So every action which we have, which we are doing, should be carefully analyzed. Why we are doing? Is it because of our own enjoyment, or is it because of the service of Krishna? It is very difficult to give up the enjoyment mentality. It is very difficult for us. Without the proper association, we cannot let go of our enjoyment mentality and lauding mentality. So, see, so there is a story of Ajamil, who was attracted by the prostitute. We all know that, right? So Bhagavad Gita says, Jayado Vishayan Punshan Sangas Sansai. So by contemplation, so we all know that we all in the olden days we all have photograph films. So where we take the photograph in the negative is created in the dark room. The proper chemicals were given, and we'll get a positive, uh, nice photograph. So when we contemplate on the material things and carefully guard these material things, what will happen? It becomes a permanent photograph in our heart. That's why we are in this material world. So they are the Vishan Pulsa. We are always continuously meditating on the material aspects of the life. And we are making a film out of that. Then it is very difficult. So people may say we have to control, especially with the opposite gender. It is very dangerous. So what we have to do? So it is recommended that, so we all have a tendency to enjoy the beauty. You enjoy the beauty of Krishna. See Krishna very clearly. What happens when we see a movie, we open our eyes and see, oh, what is happening in that movie. But when it comes to, when we go to darshan, we close our eyes. So if you go to Chilkur temple, the head priest always says, don't close your eyes. See the Lord Balaji over there. You have come all the way to see Lord Balaji, and now you are closing your eyes. For materialistic, we open our eyes. For taking a darshan, we close our eyes, which actually we are doing it reverse. We have to close our eyes for the materialist, and we have to open our eyes for the beautiful darshan. And when we take that photograph of Balaji, Krishna into our heart, we can follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni and Haridas Thakur. So once it is said, my father said, we should not search medicine in Google. If we search in the medicine in the Google, we get a lot of things. And my father is also searching for in the medicine in the Google. And I asked him, you ask me to not search in the Google, and you are searching for the same thing. And he said, because I am a doctor, I know what to filter out. You have so many Google, so many searches results out, and I know what to filter out because I have the proper knowledge. And you do not have the proper knowledge. And if you follow in the wrong way, it will be dangerous for you. You will have a wrong treatment, ultimately leading to death. Similarly, we don't have our intelligence. That's what it said in the scripture. It's in the purport. Prabhupada boldly says we are all mundane creatures because we don't have the proper intelligence. If we try to Google search, YouTube search, and get knowledge from all elsewhere, we don't understand. It will become a spiritual death. And Narada Muni and Haridas Thakur could control that because they are Mahabhagavatas. They know how to control it. They are pure in their Harinam, but we are not pure in Harinam. So we cannot imitate them. Similarly, when Hanuman went to Lanka, Ravana, to search Sita, he found so many beautiful ladies in the night. They were not even dressed. And Hanuman, who was a brahmachari, has to see each and every lady, whether it is Sita or not. He even don't know who is Sita at that time. Then he was searching, is this Sita? Is this Sita? And brahmachari going into a Grihastha's house, bedroom, and seeing each and every woman. Is it possible? No. It is not possible for all of us to imitate Hanuman. It's not possible for us to imitate Hanuman. But what we have to understand that's service attitude. Because Hanuman was in the service attitude. Narada Muni was in the service attitude. He is taking service from Kayadu. Haridas Thakur was in the service attitude and he was taking from the service of the prostitute. And result is they became a devotee. And we all have to imbibe that service attitude. We cannot imitate these great personalities, but we have to take the essence out of that. So quickly, I'm going in. Text number 15. So text number 15. Translation. Narada Muni delivered, at 15 and 16, I will read only the translations. Narada Muni delivered his instructions both to me, who was within the womb, to my mother and to my mother, who was engaged in the entering service. Because he is naturally extremely kind to the fallen souls, being in the transcendental position, he gave the instructions on religion and transcendental knowledge. These instructions were free from all material. So it is a nirmalam, nirmatsaryata. So uncontaminated devotion only attracts Krishna. Because Narada Muni was completely merciful on on the other people. That mercy is because of the uncontaminated devotion. How can we get uncontaminated devotion? By hearing from an uncontaminated person about uncontaminated person and from an uncontaminated book, which is our scriptures and especially Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam in the first chapter, first canto, the first chapter, second verse, it is mentioned, Dharma projita kaitavatara dharma nirmatsarana. So what is it? When you read Bhagavatam, it removes all the kaitava dharma, religious material contamination, because it is giving the pure Krishna consciousness. Every word of Srimad Bhagavatam is uncontaminated devotion. This is a small purport, this is a big purport, no purport, whatever may be. Each and every word of Srimad Bhagavatam is a nectar which is uncontaminated. By that we get the uncontamination. That is Nirmatsarana. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati also Vairagyam Gnanam Cha Yad Ahetukim. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires the causeless knowledge and detachment from this world. So we have to here render devotional service unto Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be situated on the platform of pure religion, one should perform Bhakti Yoga in relationship. So here there are two things. One is you have to get sambandha with Krishna, and second thing is you have to execute Bhakti Yoga. Text number 16. Because of the long duration of the time that has passed, and because of her being a woman and therefore less intelligent, my mother has forgotten all those instructions. So here it is mentioned that Kayadu has lost, she could not remember what Narada Muni told, but only Prahlad Maharaj remembered. But the grace says Narada blessed me, and therefore I could not forget them. In Bhagavad Gita 9:32, the Lord says, Mam hi partha vyapasrita ye api usuya papa yonyaha. Sriyo Vaishyastada Sudaste Api Anti Paramgatim. O son of the Prabhuta, those who take shelter of me, though they are born, low born, women, Vaishyas, or Sudras, can approach the supreme destination. The word Papayoni refers to those who are less than Sudras, but even though a woman may not be a Papayoni, because of being less intelligent, she sometimes forgets devotional service. For those who are strong enough, however, there is no question of forgetting. Women are generally attached to the material enjoyment. And because of this tendency, they sometimes forget devotional instructions. But even if a woman practices devotional service strictly, according to the rules and regulations, the statement by the Lord Himself that she can return to the Godhead is also not astonishing. One must take the shelter of the Lord and rigidly follow the instructions, regulation and regulations. Then, regardless of what one is, and one will return home back to Godhead. Prahlad Maharaj's mother was more concerned with the protection of the child in the womb and was very anxious to see her husband. Therefore, she could not consider very seriously the sublime instructions of Narada Muni. So here the point is, even when we are having low birth is not a disqualification for not taking the bhakti. So if you see externally this purport, it is mentioned that even a woman can. So externally, if you see, Prabhupada or all the sisters are male chauvinists, so a male can, but it's not like that. It is not a female, the bodily aspect of the thing. Female means the bodily concern. So we are all females actually. Why? Because we all have the materialistic tendencies. Everyone. are materialistic. So we are all females. So we tend to forget. After this instruction, after this class is over, I forget. Of course, I may forget after tomorrow or something. Definitely, I'm going to do that. But I pray that I don't forget it. I seek in each and every one of your prayers that I try to implement this in my life. But what happens because of our materialistic enjoyment, we forget it. But even if that happens, even if you forget that, if we execute our Krishna consciousness diligently, if you do our duties regularly, you prescribe duties and bhakti, whatever situation you are in, Krishna will take us. Mosama patita prabhu na paivehara. So what is that? Important thing. We have to feel that we are nothing. I am the lowest of the people. That is the quality which attracts Krishna. Even if you are low in whatever, it doesn't matter. We can execute Krishna consciousness. What does it require to chant the holy names? How much it will cost you? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yoga bhaktya. Offering food, what is easily available. This can be done. It can be done with wholehearted. Then we can become a devotee. We won't become Narada Muni. We don't become Prahlad Maharaj, but we can become a servant and servant of Sarada. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. This is all what I could share at this moment. If there is anything which I have missed out of it, it is because of my own ignorance, my own dull mind. If I spoke anything wrong, it is my words. If there is anything that is beneficial for you, is good for you, it is because of all the brahmacharis of Chaupati from whom I have heard. It is because of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It is because of all of your association, and ultimately it is because of the Krishna. There is nothing great to me. Hare Krishna. I seek each and every one of your blessings so that I can progress in my spiritual life. Is there any questions? I am ready to take it. Hare Krishna. I think it's already getting late. Shall we stop it here?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you,
It's
Hare
a
Krishna. Thank you so much.
serious class, basically. Yeah, have to take a lot of.
I have just become a CC camera. Whatever I heard, I'm trying to repeat it over here.
Prabhu. The nice slokas, Prabhu. Definitely serious lot of learning for me, basically, from this. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। We'll meet again for another Bhagavatam class on Saturday.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Subharam. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna Muralidhar Prabhu and each and everyone for giving this opportunity.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams.